Have you ever felt so hungry your tummy made loud growling noises? Or so thirsty that all you could think about was taking a big, cool drink of water? Now, imagine feeling like that all the time, not just for a few hours, but every single day, forever. Even worse, imagine that whenever you finally find food or water, it turns into fire or mud the moment you try to eat. That is the sad life of a hungry ghost. In many Buddhist stories, there are 6 kinds of worlds that people, animals, or other beings can be born into. These are called the 6 realms of existence. They include the world of gods who live happy, long lives, the world of jealous gods or titans who always fight, the human world where we are, with both joy and sadness, the animal world where beings live by instinct, often afraid or chasing food, the world of hungry ghosts, the hells where beings suffer the most. Hungry ghosts live in the 5th realm. In old stories, hungry ghosts are called pretas or pita. In Chinese, they're called ergwei, which means literally hungry ghost. Most stories say hungry ghosts look very strange and sad. They have huge, bloated bellies, as if they are always hungry and empty, but their necks are tiny and thin, like a straw, so they can't get much food down. Their mouths are often described as no bigger than the eye of a needle, making it almost impossible to eat or drink enough. Some stories even say they have tiny hands and weak legs, so they can't go far to find food. Because of this, hungry ghosts are always in pain. They wander around looking for something, anything, to eat or drink. And if they do, it might turn into hot flames, sharp needles, or rotten stuff that makes them sick. Hungry ghosts are said to live in a world that is close to ours, almost like a shadow world. Sometimes they wander in dark places like forests, abandoned buildings, or graveyards. Other times, they might walk among us, but we can't see them. Some stories say that during certain festivals, like the Hungry Ghost Festival in China, the doors between their world and ours open, and hungry ghosts come looking for food or offerings. That's why people light lanterns, burn incense, and prepare plates of rice, fruits, and cakes. They hope to feed these hungry spirits so they won't feel so alone or angry. Hungry ghosts are more than just scary or sad creatures. In Buddhism, they are symbols of what happens when someone is greedy, selfish, or attached to things in the wrong way. For example, if someone in their past life was always taking and never giving, or if they hurt others because of endless wanting, their mind might become filled with craving. Then, when they die, they could be reborn as a hungry ghost. This doesn't mean someone is punished. It's more like a natural result, the same way planting a chili seed grows a chili plant. If someone's life was full of greed, then their next life might naturally grow into a place where they feel hungry all the time. The stories of hungry ghosts are like gentle warnings. They teach us that being greedy and always wanting more can lead to endless sadness. Think about it. Have you ever eaten so many sweets that you felt sick afterward, or wanted a toy so badly, only to get bored with it after a few days? That's a little like being a hungry ghost, always wanting, but never really feeling satisfied. Buddhists use these stories to remind themselves to be generous and kind. Instead of always thinking about what they can get, they try to think about how they can help others. This way, they don't plant the seeds of craving that grow into pain later. Even though hungry ghosts sound scary, Buddhism doesn't teach us to hate or fear them. Instead, monks and families often do things to help hungry ghosts, like saying prayers or offering food. They feel compassion for these beings, hoping that one day they will be free from their suffering. In this way, hungry ghosts are also teachers. They show us how painful it is to never feel full or happy. By thinking about them, we can learn to be happy with what we have and to share with others. So next time you feel hungry or thirsty, and you finally get a yummy meal or a cool drink, pause for a moment, feel grateful. Imagine how lucky you are that you can eat when you want to, and that your food doesn't turn into fire or mud. And maybe take a tiny breath of kindness, wishing that all beings, even hungry ghosts, can someday find real food, real happiness, and real peace. When we hear about hungry ghosts, beings with enormous, empty stomachs and thin, choking throats, it's natural to wonder, why would anyone end up like that? Is it some kind of punishment handed down by a god? Or is it just a frightening old myth meant to scare people into behaving? In Buddhist teachings, it's neither. The idea of hungry ghosts is deeply tied to the law of karma. A law that's not about reward or punishment, but about natural cause and effect. Karma simply means action, the choices we make through our thoughts, words, and deeds. Each action plants a seed, and over time, that seed ripens into results. Kindness tends to lead to more peace, connection, and trust. Anger and greed often sow division, stress, and regret. It's not always instant or obvious. Some seeds take years or even lifetimes to ripen. That's why Buddhism sees life not as a single snapshot, but as a long flow of causes and results, stretching across many existences. So why might someone be reborn as a hungry ghost? According to Buddhist stories and teachings, it's because strong habits of greed, clinging, or selfishness shape the mind so deeply that even after death, that mind seeks a world that matches it. Imagine someone who, in life, was obsessively attached to money or power, who hoarded wealth while others suffered, or who could never share even small comforts. That intense craving and tight grasping can mold consciousness into a state that naturally gravitates toward the hungry ghost realm after death. It's not a divine punishment. It's simply a continuation, a mind so consumed by wanting that it finds itself in a realm defined by endless, unsatisfied hunger. There's a traditional tale told in many Buddhist cultures about a wealthy merchant who lived with tight fists. Despite his overflowing granaries, he refused to give a single grain of rice to the starving outside his door. He delighted in seeing his vaults full, but felt little concern for the poor. When he died, his deep patterns of greed and fear of loss carried forward. He was reborn as a hungry ghost, doomed to wander with a cavernous belly and a mouth like a needle's eye. Whenever he found food, it turned to hot coals or rot before he could eat. This story isn't about punishment from outside. It's about how strong mental habits, left unchecked, become the very environment we inhabit next. In Buddhist thought, our consciousness shapes our future worlds. It can be tempting to dismiss these ideas as quaint folklore, but look a bit deeper, and they hold a profound truth about human psychology. Even in this life, we see how powerful habits shape our experience. Someone who clings tightly to wealth may live in a constant state of anxiety, afraid to lose what they've gathered, suspicious of others, unable to truly enjoy it. In a way, they're already living like a hungry ghost, always afraid, never full. In Buddhist teachings, the hungry ghost realm isn't just a possible future life. It's also a state of mind we slip into even now, when we let craving or fear run unchecked. It's important to understand that karma isn't about blaming people for their misfortunes, or deciding someone deserves to suffer. Life is much more complex. We carry countless karmic seeds from countless past choices, mixed with conditions we can't fully see. The point is not to judge, but to gently recognize that our choices matter. They carve pathways that become easier to walk each time, until they form deep ruts leading to familiar places. By becoming more mindful of what we nurture, greed or generosity, resentment or compassion, we shape what we're growing inside. Over time, we set the stage for what kind of mind and life we'll have next. The Buddha often spoke of karma to encourage people not to fear hells or hungry ghost realms, but to take responsibility for the seeds they were planting in their minds. He taught that it's never too late to start sowing different seeds. Each moment of kindness, each act of sharing, each breath of letting go, all of these plant new causes. They can soften old tendencies and turn us away from pathways of endless hunger. So, why do hungry ghosts exist? Because the mind, shaped by its own clinging, fear, or craving, keeps seeking places that match its habits. It's not about punishment. It's simply about how deeply our desires and aversions carve grooves into our being, which then guide us into experiences that mirror those grooves. This teaching isn't meant to frighten us. It's meant to wake us up to the incredible creative power of our own hearts and minds. By recognizing craving when it arises, by choosing generosity over greed, and by caring for others rather than only ourselves, we slowly steer away from the hungry ghost's endless search. Instead, we begin to build a life, now and in lives to come, that is rooted in contentment, ease, and genuine fullness. In Buddhist countries across Asia, the idea of hungry ghosts has shaped customs and community life for centuries. But what's striking is how people respond, not with fear or anger, but with offerings, ceremonies, and prayers. They look at these restless, suffering beings not as enemies, but as souls in need of compassion. Now, we explore some of the ways people try to bring relief to hungry ghosts, and why it matters even for us today. Every year, during the 7th lunar month, often around August, many Chinese communities observe what's called the Hungry Ghost Festival. According to tradition, this is the time when the gates between the worlds open. Hungry ghosts wander freely among the living, looking for food and comfort. Far from ignoring or hiding from them, families prepare feasts and rituals to welcome and soothe these unseen visitors. Tables are laid out with rice, fruit, cakes, meat, and tea. Incense spirals upward, carrying fragrant smoke like a gentle invitation. Lanterns are lit to guide lost spirits home, or at least help them find a resting place for the night. In Buddhist temples, there is also a profound ritual called ulambana. Its roots come from a story told in many Buddhist texts. A disciple of the Buddha named Majalliana used his deep meditation powers to look for his deceased mother. To his sorrow, he found her reborn as a hungry ghost, thin and tormented by burning hunger. Heartbroken, he tried to give her food directly, but it turned to flames in her mouth. Desperate, he asked the Buddha how he could help. The Buddha instructed him to gather monks and the community to perform a great offering, food. robes, medicines, and to dedicate the merit of these acts to all beings in suffering states. Through this collective act of generosity and compassion, it's said that his mother's suffering was eased, and many other hungry ghosts found relief. Today, Ulambana ceremonies are held in temples across Asia. People offer meals to monks and dedicate the merit to ancestors, hungry ghosts, and all beings in need. It's an expression of deep care that reaches beyond visible life. You might have seen people burning joss paper, imitation money, or even intricate paper houses, clothes, and other luxuries. In many Chinese communities, this is a way to symbolically send necessities and comforts to spirits. The belief is that these offerings, carried by smoke, become real in the world of the dead. Even if someone died with debts of craving still haunting them, families hope these offerings can bring them some peace. It's common during these festivals to leave small plates of food and cups of tea or wine by the roadside or outside the home. These offerings aren't for human guests. They're gestures for unseen visitors who might be wandering, lonely, and hungry. There is something tender about this, preparing a plate, not knowing who might receive it, making space for souls who have no family to remember them, giving without expectation of thanks. In many places, people also organize performances, Chinese opera, puppet shows, or modern concerts. You might notice that the front rows of seats are left empty. These are reserved for spirits. Lanterns and candles are set out to light dark paths so that even the most lost souls can find their way. It's a reminder that compassion isn't only for those who can pay or clap in return. It's offered freely, even to those who may never be seen. At one level, these rituals are about protecting communities from restless spirits, ensuring harmony between the living and the unseen. But at a deeper level, they reflect profound empathy. They acknowledge that even those who suffer because of their own past, greed, or anger are still beings deserving care. Their endless craving doesn't make them monsters. It makes them pitiable, lost, and still part of the larger family of life. These traditions also ease the living. They allow people to process grief, express continued love for deceased relatives, and transform fear of the unknown into acts of generosity. Whether or not one literally believes in hungry ghosts, these practices point to something beautiful in human nature. We build rituals not just to protect ourselves, but to include and soothe those who have been cast out, forgotten, or trapped by their own suffering. We try to feed and comfort even those who may never be able to repay us. It's a kind of generosity that doesn't measure. It simply gives, hoping to ease another's burden, seen or unseen. So, across Asia, you'll find lanterns flickering in the dark, plates of food left on lonely street corners, and ashes of paper offerings rising into the night sky. All these acts carry a silent message. May you be fed. May you find rest. May your endless hunger finally ease. And perhaps, in making these offerings, people also feed something tender and compassionate within themselves, planting seeds that make them less likely to become hungry ghosts in their own hearts.